floor to Jian Zhang. Jian.
Well, thank you, Gary, and thank you, Perry and Barry, to ask me to join this section. So with all these distinguished leaders from political and economic, it's a daunting task for me to actually to be here. But anyway, I'll try my best. Gordon mentioned a lot about energy, which I spent a little bit of time in China. I know the difference. What I saw, for instance, in Beijing, I see so many electric cars. I always ask, where those energy actually, the battery being charged? But anyway, I think they're trying, and hopefully there will be some progress. And I'll try to live until 2060 and see how this, what is it going to look like for Gordon. So I guess for agriculture, I think the food security and supply is always a big topic, and I'll try to touch on and briefly the challenge we facing right now is the population. I'll tell you why, but this is just the population that represented by the size of the block in this graph. China, India, Bangladesh, Brazil, and probably Japan also, you can see the size, and Canada actually is a smear. But the challenge, I think, is actually that this graph or this figure. After the World War II, you can see the population growth almost quadrupled. And of course, Gordon mentioned about the aging population. This is another point, because the birth rate is not really grow as the population actually is not correspondent to each other. But anyway, and I will show you another picture that why is it challenging, because the arable land actually to grow food is not sufficient. But this is give you an idea how challenging we're facing as mankind. And the speed of the population grows because everybody have longevity. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people are going to be way behind the 2060, even from this audience. The arable land or agricultural land used for long term, I stretch a little bit back to 17th century. I just want to bring your attention, see China, bring China to the picture here, and Canada. Right now, they're pretty much like we have probably 1/10 in Canada of the Chinese arable agricultural land. But Canada actually grow like 6,000%, and China actually didn't change a whole lot. But the actual arable agricultural land from this picture, you can see China is on the bottom. That's meaning that the percentage or the rate that can be used arable agricultural land for the size of the country. Canada is pretty, not even 5%, because we're, our location. China, this is not a stretch. If we try to stretch back to the civilization time, it's probably still pretty stable. So it's only slightly more than 10% of the land of the country can be actually grow crops. But in contrast, if you see India, it's smaller than China in the size of the country, but they actually blessing with the arable land. More than 50% of the country actually can grow crops. So this is, that's what I mean, that we are probably seeing the challenge, because let's see, the population in China is huge, arable land small. Canada population is small, we have a lot of land, arable land. So in Canada, we actually even where our agriculture started not too long ago, but still we're blessing with here that we can grow a lot of crops. This is just what we can basically around the whole country. I don't need to go through in the detail, but you can see we grow wheat, we grow canola, we grow soybeans, we have livestock, we probably produce the best quality of flaxseed and canola, and sometimes even alfalfa, because Japan actually, they import a lot of alfalfa from Tennessee He, they call, from Canada to feed their cattle. But among this agriculture progress, the innovation and science actually play such a great role here. I can give you an example, is a canola. I mean, if we look at the history, in the middle of the 70s, canola been bringing the breed, they've been bred in Saskatchewan, basically create the canola. They used to use basically rapa or brassica rapa, and gradually have been replaced by the nippers, and also Jiangxia, I mean, brassica Jiangxia been brought to the same. But this is a whole innovation. It's actually play the role and create the canola industry, which is worth about, I think it's $16 billion, roughly, you know, give and take. And also the innovation and science actually provide the opportunity. And even though canola in Canada is a majority is a GMO, but still, because we're using the fatty acids, edible oil, it still provide so much to the country's economy. And meantime, right now, I think the innovation also will play the critical role here. And Gary asked about this, the new technology. Canada still in a relatively leading role in the AI or artificial intelligence and machine learning and big data. I cannot go to the detail, but at least, you know, this is the priority, which I think that, you know, there's a lot of attention been an effort and resource already been directed to these directions. So I'll call the digital agriculture or the future agriculture will come to in play. Mm-hmm. Well, talking about this, so this is how much, you know, the canola industry will worth, or roughly look like, and I'm not going to go through the details. But for the reps, let's see for the canola. So for instance, you can see in China, they actually grow, we call it rapeseed. Let's say all call it rapeseed, but in Canada, we like to call it a canola. It's not really until probably the beginning of this century, it's become so important and it's become a #1 canola producer in the whole world, actually. China is a pretty stable. So I think this is a demand and the market, and Canada had to really pay attention to. And I think we can refer to General Counsel's point regarding the relationship, how, you know, canola a little bit interrupt, but still the demand is still there. I'll tell you why. This is also the, you know, I'm not going to go, this is just an example for the let's say the AI in agriculture, what it's going to look like. So for instance, in the pest control for the breeding, for enhance the quality, this all can be attributed by the AI technology. It's already happened in Canada and also happened in China, which I saw. So agriculture, AI in agriculture, there's many aspects. I probably need to another time to go, but just give another sort of like aspect. Energy is important, but agriculture quite important as well. In Alberta, you know, fossil oil or fossil industry, people think will become to end in the future. Agriculture will be there. Alberta, you know, relatively, we don't have much population here, but it still play quite important roles in agriculture industry. You know, 2014, this is data show how much, you know, 45% of barley actually been produced in Alberta. Almost one third of canola also from Alberta. And it's worth about, you know, for Alberta economy, it's worth about almost $10 billion just for export. So that's how important this is in the agriculture sectors. Bioeconomy is very important. This picture I took from Wegerville. You can see there's a, so I want to use this example to just really touch on the subject in the agriculture and food sector. You see a flax in the bottom, you see hemp, you see canola on the top. So this is how diversify even in the sectors. And also you want to have the value added product to boost or secure your economy. In here we call it bioeconomy. Flax, just worthwhile to mention, in this part of Canada, we probably produce the best flax if you want to use a flax for food, namely for function food, because of the omega-3 content. And also they have the lignin, which will help to reduce the free radical in your body when you consume that, and it can prevent cancer. So this is, you can see as a functional food. The flaxseed been export to Japan big time. Actually, the Japanese market have a lot of Canadian or Western Canadian produce flax oil in their shelf. I haven't seen much in the Chinese market, but those are something need to be paying attention. The reason is because the climate. Look at this picture. You can see this is the omega-3 content. Omega-3 is good for your body and everything, so I don't need to emphasize more. But from the plant base, you can see flax actually do consist the more omega-3 content if rate in any all this plant-based seed oil. In Northern Canada, because we have a longer, in the growth season, you have a longer time, the growth time, and the sun, let's say the light in the day temperature is high, you have longer light time, and in the evening, really cold. So that's actually accumulated. That's why the quality of the oil or fatty acids profile is better. And of course, because here we're probably closer to the Arctic and the environment is relatively better. So the quality is actually a really good favor to for those. And I call this one as a Northern Vigor advantage. Hemp, I think this is also has become a hot topic from, and this is also, I call it a sort of like a bridge between China and Canada, if specifically, I'll tell you why. Hemp is also called, it's a cannabis sativa, same as a marijuana, but that's totally different thing. Although they share the same genetics and the same name. It's a diploid genome. It got let's say 10 pair of chromosome. Interestingly enough, it have a sex chromosome, X and Y, very interesting. But it's because it's been used for almost 7,000 years, so I think it's been bred quite intensively. So everything's, in the genome has been sort of like selected. So that's why the genome size is relatively small. It's only 800 million base pair. So my colleague, Jian Zhang, he's not too short, but you can see the hemp actually almost like a double his size. Hemp is a multi-purpose plant. It actually used for material, for food, for industry purpose. Even George Washington, himself actually grow hemp, and hemp used to play pretty important role in the World War II as well. But hemp, there's a lot of things we don't know about hemp. So this is the chromosome picture about the hemp genome. You can see this is X and Y sex chromosome. And we're trying to see if we can actually, because this is related to the quality of the seed, even the quality of the fiber, the materials, and also the medicinal or the medical uses from the hemp. This is a little bit complicated, so I'm not going to go through. At least the hemp plant can be male, can be female, and they're a little bit complicated according to the genetics and also the environment they're coming into. But in the reality, if we can have more female plant, probably it's better because you have more seed and you probably have a more biomass that produce. But to define the hemp, basically, we can use hemp as many important applications, and I think I want to bring your attention to, especially for the carbon emission when Gordon talking about this, net zeros. I believe hemp actually hold a position. If you compare this is in Chinese, but actually it's a carbon emission. This is a 25 ton of a carbon credit that contribute to 1 hectare of hemp growth versus cotton. So actually you can see that there's a big difference. In Canada, I don't believe China can grow too much hemp due to the food supply demand, but Canada or place like Australia certainly can grow more hemp. And they can use, there's already a lot of products that they attribute to hemp, and majority actually has come from Canada. So we're in a way, we're leading in these sectors. And hemp, you can see here, you have based on the THC content, hemp is 0.3% of less is hemp, otherwise it will be called marijuana. But you can actually have the grain, the fiber, and also the CBD that can be used based on the hemp. So this is since 1996 or 1998, Canada in the position that are leading in the hemp application and research. In China, they are also actually start to using some hemp. This is some Chinese cuisine actually that use hemp as the ingredient here. So I just want to give you a quick example. Why let's see I mentioned about hemp and flax and mentioned about the innovation. This is I just draw a simple, probably it's not accurate, but at least it is Indo-Asia. Well, you can see China is in the center, Canada is right here. The bridge between this two part, I think is innovation include such as in the hemp field and flax and the edible oil crops and others, probably holding an important role here to connect the two part. And I think there's an example, good example, because I've mentioned about this, the production and demand, and you can see, I think General Counsel Lu also mentioned about the energy import or demand in China, but here actually the agricultural product or the for the Chinese demand for how much they actually import for food. This is number is in the 10,000 ton of unit. You can see by the last 7 years, it's all about roughly about 14,000 million ton of good being imported to China. So there's a big demand or the gap. Now, I'm not saying that China, they actually produce more food by unit of land, but there's still, because the life standards go up, and also there's demand. That's probably the bridge, and because you have the demand, of course, then you get this, you have the required or need to connect these two places. And the bridging between Canada and China, for instance, we're involved with this China-Canada Biofiber Center. And this center actually bring a lot of hemp industry and other fiber industry interest, and help to actually boost a collaboration even in the industry business sectors. I know there's a big company called Hengfeng Paper Company in Heilongjiang. They actually benefit from this center to open a new revenue to there. And the first group of hemp researcher and from the academic institution and some industry was actually come to Alberta to get their first exposure to hemp research and hemp applications. And you can see this, that's how the bridge between Canada and, let's say, in China in the specific sectors. So I think, to bridging, I know the energy sectors, the political and others, they all are quite important, but I believe that, for through the innovation and also the personal exchange can bridge and make the connection, the linkage between region in the Indo-Asia, including China and Canada, become stronger. I think everybody should, we build the bridge and we should maintain the bridge. By that, I'll just end here. And this is my group back in China. And they are all quite enthusiastic. We're focused on the edible oil crop research. And some of them probably going to come to Canada for collaboration work and training. And that hopefully they will be also contribute a little bit to the Canadian economy. And by that, thank you so much.
Thank you, John. My serious question is this. I mean, population, your last slide was about the population. I mean, I think it's important to put in context that if you were located in Hong Kong, you would be a 5-hour plane ride from half the world's population. It's pretty extraordinary in terms of what the size of the market is. But you touched on something that I thought was quite important, and that was the whole issue of food security. There's actually not that many countries in the world that produce more food than they consume. Canada is one of them. Tell me what you think that means in terms of an opportunity in the Indo-Pacific region.
Yeah, well, I think that's why we have to really connect. Places like Hong Kong. Mainly I think there's a food supplies from mainland China right now. But what about we diversify for Hong Kong? That link directly, because the world becomes smaller, transportation is becoming easier. What about Hong Kong? Let's see, directly with the blockchain technology and AI, what you mentioned about, can actually Hong Kong have a sort of a direct connection to somewhere in Canada that actually not just basically channel that. But have a really good plan that not try to reduce the emissions and try the demand, actual demand, or in other words, personalize there's demand with the aging population or the character of in that market. Can you actually draw the direct connection right now? Because the multinational, they actually control those flows. Can you actually try to? I don't want to say, diminish those the contribution, but I'm just saying that can you actually connect this one directly? So maybe that's also as point to taken. I'm not so sure I answer your question, but I just I've been thinking about it. A lot of time it's a distribution problem for the food security. That's why the AI and the big data should actually. We should pay more attention to that and try to modify and utilize those new technologies.